it doesn't have any volume, so.
Green student decides he's going to walk. However, blue student wants to jog to Jack in the Box.
Okay, from that video, what do you guys wonder? What do you notice?
Walking with a friend. Why are you going?
So you're wondering why are they even going different ways? What else do you notice?
So does anybody see it again, or are you good?
I'm sorry, are those sugar cubes the little white things?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that video, what do you notice?
There's a lot of sugar cubes. How far over the 20-ounce bottle?
I think they're how far away from I don't know if you're gonna see it like right here, but like 4 rows of 6. Okay, so if you guys could predict who would get there first, who would you say? The blue person or the green person?
And you said, do you think there are 4 rows of 6?
Jogging.
What do you guys at the same time?
In front of the 20-ounce? Anybody else have any noticings?
There was none in front of the 2-liter.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
I would go get there at the same time. Because like the packets, they go different ways, don't they? Or do they go the same way? They're going different ways.
Anybody else have anything to add?
The cube, the sugar cubes were cube-like.
They were shaped like a cube?
What do you guys think we need to find out who will get there first?
They look like my grandma used to serve with tea.
That's because that's what it is.
We don't use it anymore. We still have it.
Yes. Okay, so what do you wonder?
I wonder how much sugar is in the
Okay, what is that measure? What do you measure? Speed? Okay, so I'm gonna put green in the speed marker, okay? Speed. So the speed of the
Anything else?
I want to know how much it equates to in the 20-ounce.
How many are actually in the 20-ounce?
and the distance. Bless you. Is 75 feet. And then we have blue.
Anything else?
How you could equally fit the cubes into the
2 liter or the 20-ounce?
plant.
That's a good question.
Okay, so
Is it aspartame?
Yeah, it is.
Why is one 50% and one amount
that's how they're measured. So from a previous
Okay.
lesson, we talked about
So in front of you, you should have a sheet of paper. It's actually 2 sheets of paper. It tells you how many grams of sugar are in a sugar cube, as well as how many grams of sugar are in the 2 liter. Using whatever manipulative you want, whether it be the Katie cubes or the Cuisinart rods, I want you to try and find out how many sugar cubes are in the 2 liter. And work in pairs if you can. So if 2 of you want to join Rebecca, that would be great.
I can join 2 people.
That's the same thing.
from last year and from our last year, we talked about these relationships between different units. So what are the relationships between units you guys are going to
Here's another sheet if you guys need it.
What is another relationship?
Can you write down what you want us to find?
Yes.
I get distracted with like things.
What is another relationship?
We're gonna say 5,000 everybody. 5,200.
Okay, are there any other relationships? 0.5 grams. You guys happy with that? Okay. So,
If they're 5 each,
I'm going to remind you guys of something that was used in Cuisinart rods. That when we learn fractions, we
15, 20.
where one rod,
30,
So this is what
30,
I'm looking at.
40.
4 rows of 6.
and then other rods that are smaller, that they don't have.
Yeah.
No, no, you're fine. I just gave up.
Way
with this
easier than
second
when I was
one,
about
so
to do. Okay, so there's
You know what those colors are?
5, which makes 10, 12, 14, 16, 18.
You know, the exact measurement. So, using your manipulatives in the situation, find out who will get just 2 boxers.
Times 2.
So this is 2
So
cubes,
35,
5.
right? Because if each one equals 36 cubes, 1 cube is 2.5. So 2 would make, so here we have, right, and we can go back that. So if we have
30, so 60.
18 of these, it would be
If
times
this is
2.
what we had before.
Oh, is that right?
This you can
No,
just show.
your times. Because we're counting 2 for 1, basically. Because each one counts as 1. So we have 18 divided by 2 would be 9.
If we count it right. Yeah, true. And so if it is
If each one equals 2.5, right? And then we have 5. Okay, and we counted all of these as sugar cubes. We have 18 total. And each one counts as 5. We want to divide that number by 2 to get 9.
Did you say what, is this what we're using to figure out how much?
Yeah, that's the nutritional information for both a sugar cube and a 2 liter of A&W.
Oh, this is the 2 liter?
Yes.
Okay, so how many sugars?
Think about that. Like, what you want to show.
So, yeah, this is 1 for the diet soda. 1 sugar cube, 2.5. This is 45.
This would be 5 grams, right? 2.5, 2.5. So if we're looking at like 45 grams. 9,
But there's 45. This is 45.
so 9 times 2.
20, so we have 30, 35, 40, 45. There's only one of these in the other.
3, so 15, 30, 45.
Finally.
Yes, and I think that's what sugar would be. We think it's 18.
Why is everyone listening to me? We're in pairs still. Am I right?
9.
So, who wants to share their idea and how they got there?
I can share.
Okay, Rebecca?
So each one equals 2.5, 2 of them would equal 5. And we have 18 total. Right?
Mhm.
But we want to find out how many each one is. If there's 18 total, you'd have to divide it. No, times it by 2. I can't decide.
You tell me.
So we came with 18 sugar cubes.
Okay.
Because if each cube is 2.5 grams, each pair is 5. So it would be,
Yeah, it would be 18.
okay. Because 9 times 5 is 45. And so 9 is the amount of sugar. No, 9.
18 because you times 9 by 2 because that's your 5. You got it.
But there's 6 servings per container.
That's something we are utilizing.
Well, what was the question asked?
How many sugar cubes are in the Oh, we're just looking at the sugar, which is 45 grams.
Never mind.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
18.
you think there are 18 sugar cubes in a 2 liter?
Yes, because each pair is 5 grams, and there's 9 pairs.
There are 9 pairs.
9 times 5 is 45. 9 pairs by 5 grams, and so 9 cubes times 2, because each pair is 18.
Okay, this group found a new relationship.
Okay.
Good answer. Good answer.
The unit seconds.
So, is that for the entire 2 liter or is that just one serving?
Ooh, servings per container, there's 6.
60 seconds in 1 minute, and then 60 minutes.
So 18 times.
No, it's per serving, so then we would have to times 18 times. No, yeah, 18 times 6.
So it would be.
So, you would need to times 18 times 6?
So 20 times 6 would be 120 minus 12 would be
108.
So, you said 20 times 6?
Yes.
And then she subtracted.
'So 20 times 6 is what?
200
120.
Yeah, 100.
120.
I'm second guessing myself.
And then you said take away 12.
Take away 12 because we didn't use 2 of the 6 pairs.
So yours all, so what are your parts, what is your part gonna be?
So it's a division 8. That is a lot of food.
So show the feet and the rod. So they pick up the part.
So does everybody agree with Carissa's logic here? So you all think that there's 108 sugar cubes in a 2 liter?
Yes.
Okay. So can anybody identify and describe what type of math we just did by looking for how many sugar cubes are in a 2 liter?
So much. We did multiplication.
So we did multiplication.
Of dozens.
And how did we do that?
We did that when we did 2.5 times 2 to come up with an easier number to work with the 5.
It could be like you said, a ratio.
A ratio?
So like for every, there's 18 cubes for every serving. So 2 servings. Be 18 to 1. This would be the whole. 36 to 2.
Okay. Anything else that you think we did?
We did subtraction. When we did 120 minus 12. We also did multiplication in a different way.
What other way?
When we did 20 times 6 to find an easier number to work with. And I say me loosely, it was not me.
I guess with grouping the under multiplication. That's how we started off with it.
So grouping? Is there another word that we could use for grouping?
There is.
What?
Well, I don't know. I just know what is it called? That's what little kids do when they put things together.
I mean, we created like an array.
You created an array.
So 3 small cubes fit into
Do you want to add anything to this list? You tell me. Madison, do you have anything to share?
Okay, so we did our grouping, so creating an array at the beginning. We counted, so that's multiplication. We did our ratios, did multiplication. So we did not do division.
You don't think we did division?
Okay.
Why do you think you didn't do division? So you think we did?
Yeah, we did division loosely.
Division? And surely you said because you started with 45 grams and broke it down?
Yeah.
Or no, these are miles.
Well, blue is our, so you found this feet. How does it three?
So it's a third of.
What is your whole
Okay.
You're finding a relationship between your units.
So do you think there's any other way that we could have gotten this answer? Is there a quicker or easier way? And if so, can you explain?
What is 6 equal? Do you guys have anything else to say?
Is it with what we have now, or
With the same numbers.
so like?
Is there a quicker way? And if you can think of one, will you tell me how?
I mean, we can do algebraically. We already have it figured out.
So
So like it would be
2.5x equals 45.
So what is the relationship?
What are you looking for? Huh?
Are you looking for one serving?
We were looking for x. How many servings? Right, or how many
servings or the sugar?
How many sugars? So we have 2.5, which is our sugars for the one. And then we get our sugars here, which is 45, and we want to find out.
So 45 equals 2.5 times x.
So what did you say? 45
Equals
2.5
So they said, we're trying to see
times,
who gets there
or
first.
2.5
So that's
x.
the first step we're gonna need to do to figure out who
Okay. Any other methods that you can think of that you think would be easier or quicker?
Do we have a minute to look at it?
Yeah. Take whatever time you need.
All right.
So you're changing miles per hour.
Which one are you thinking of?
Feet per second.
Here, I was like, oh, that makes sense.
So how are you gonna change miles per hour to feet per second?
So an hour in seconds.
Talk to your group.
So I guess we found friendly numbers, because we don't use a friendly number, but we use 5 instead.
So you looking for friendly numbers?
Looking for the actual method or the total.
Okay. So if we changed the amount that is in a sugar cube from 2.5 to 3.7, how would you solve that?
45 equals 3.7x.
So what does that look like though?
Okay.
Like if we were to use the manipulatives,
Yeah.
I would round up to 4. 4 is a much more friendly number. And
So-
then I would see how many times I used 4, and then I would take away how many times I used like 3. That makes sense.
So that means on the bottom, where like, we had our 3 miles for 1 hour.
Yeah, I think
One
we just
hour
looked
is
into
now.
the fairly number,
The
like,
block that we had is an
3.7 times
hour.
5
300.
would give us a similar number to 2.5, or 3.7 times 10 would give us 37.
So you said, Rebecca, that you would do what?
Your bottom be 1 hour.
3.7 times 5 and or 10, depending on which gave me the easier number to work with, and that fit closer with the equation.
Okay, does anybody else have any other way that they would solve it?
I would do 2 cubes are
So what are you
7.5
trying to get?
grams. Rounded to 7.5.
So the unit you're gonna
If you get 2 of these,
So try using your rods to find
7.4.
out.
So you'd only need 0.1 off for
So you said 2 cubes equals how much?
7.5
Find a
grams.
relationship.
Anybody else
Found it here. Show.
have a different method for how you would solve with 3.7?
Counting them one by one. That's how I would really do it. Very sad.
Well, like you said, if you multiply by 10, then
Yeah, that you at least have your 10 there, and you can,
37 grams.
right.
Okay. So one of you mentioned that we did division kind of loosely, right?
Yeah.
So whenever we do division with decimals, because that's what we actually did here, we tried to see how many of the sugar cubes were inside of 45 grams, and that is division. When you do division with decimals, do you get a bigger or smaller number? So when you do division with decimals, do you get a bigger or smaller number than you started with? So you think a smaller?
Are you talking about like 2.5 divided by 2?
Well, we did 2.5 divided, 4.45 divided by 2.5.
Yeah.
So you get a smaller number?
Rebecca's saying yes.
Rebecca is saying yes?
Technically we would, because we ended up using them on 5,000 right?
So Shirley, you agree you get a smaller number?
Okay, so here's kind of what division is. Guys, let's listen to what she said. You said, what was the
Yeah,
whole?
you're right. We divided them.
Okay. So do you guys, can you find a relationship between decimals and fractions? So with our decimal, which was 2.5, which one is the whole number?
2.
The 2 is the whole number?
Yes.
And what is this number? 5/10. So it's half of a whole? Okay. So, kind of like we just explained, a decimal is a number that is a whole number, which is our 2, and a fraction part, which is our 0.5. So, now that we have kind of described what this was, which was division, why don't you go ahead and start exploring how to do the problem of 3.7 into 45.
Can you write that on the board?
Yes.
Again, into 45? 45 grams or 45?
45 grams.
10 is 37.
And you can work in groups.
6, 8, 10, that's 37. What's 37?
We knew 10 of
Are we rounding?
You decide what you want to do.
Okay, that's
37.
So she estimated about 5,000.
44.
So we'll change this.
So I think you would need like 12. You need a quarter of a cube.
You guys got the same thing? How did you guys show
Okay, so you said
multiplying?
I should 10 equal 37.
So if explain what you did.
Yeah,
She
because
said
if we
you
have
were
10 cubes, you're just adding the 0 and then at the end of 37 and moving the decimal.
So then when I changed
Does
that
that really
3
make
miles,
sense in my head?
so I changed the 1 mile to 5,000.
So don't make me if I get the right thing, I'll tell you.
So she made the whole
In my thought, I was just saying.
and the part, each part was 1 mile. But you gave it a different unit.
What you, after I changed, I think I had to change it from miles to
Because each floor is 15.
each
So
of those
2,
1 mile.
because we're rounding, that's right.
So,
7 and a half
because
is
of time, I want to introduce you guys.
So it's roughly,
What we're doing
it's
and
roughly.
using here, and then we can, if we have time, we can go further and see if we can figure out.
Some of it probably just left on the side of it.
So, what does this look like to you guys? A fraction, okay?
I wasn't dictating this conversation. If anybody wants me to shut up.
No, I like listening to you. You can continue. It helps me process.
Does any of you guys see a different number?
I got 12 and 3 fifths.
What is it?
Well, 1 is miles and 1 is hours. They're different units.
Okay, so whenever we are comparing two quantities, like 3 miles and 1 hour, we have a ratio. Because they're equivalent to each other.
So does anybody want to share?
I did. 12 and 3 fifths.
How'd you get that?
You guys set up a ratio rate.
3.7 times 10.
Whenever
And
you're
37.
comparing, you have equality of two ratios, like what you guys did, you're using your proportional.
So you came up with 12 and 3/5?
I did. But that's 10. And then I took 3.7 and added it twice,
This side, there's
So you-
1 hour.
which gave me
50,000,
7.4.
3,600.
And I added 7.4 to 37.
And then.
You added it to 37?
Yes.
And that is
Which was?
our finding.
44.4.
So what was the
44.4.
relationship we found with the units we used?
And then from there, there's only 0.6 left, so I knew it was 6/10.
Okay, so it could be
And so I simplified it
all these
down
right
to
here.
3
So we
fifths.
found a unit rate.
But if you count the number of 3.7s you're using, initially use the first 10, and then you add 2 additional ones, which gives you the 12, and then the 6/10.
I think you mean
Okay, so for the rest of the time,
2/5.
knowing this.
3/5 is
try to
what's
see
left
who
over,
gets there
right?
first. See what else you need to do.
Yes,
Is it 2/5 or 3/5?
it's 3 fifths.
She said 3/5.
Is it 3/5?
Yeah, because 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 10
Oh,
divided by
okay.
2 is 5.
So, Madison, how did you get your answer?
I didn't.
You didn't? What were you thinking?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, I saw you putting cubes together,
I
so
was trying to do the 4.
you were trying to do
instead of the
4?
3.7, but it just wasn't, it was too far.
Before you get 11 though, right?
What did
And
you
then
say?
a little
Tell
bit
me what.
over.
So, for the feet per second, right now.
Okay,
um,
done.
Good.